Hi, my name is Melissa Giles, and I am going to start a series on Ecclesiastes like I did on Proverbs. If you haven't seen the Proverbs videos, then go to my channel and check out Proverbs, which goes with Ecclesiastes for sure. Proverbs is about being wise and changing your way of thinking to be like the mind of God, and it really helps in your life overall, and so does Ecclesiastes. So here we go. So, oh dang, it's okay. So this video is going to be called "Why is Everything So Meaningless?" And throughout this book, what I love so much about this book is it's really about getting to know God, and it's about getting to know yourself after being wise and even before you're wise. I remember my first encounter with this book. I was in jail in 2005, and it was my first time ever being in trouble, and I was in a lot of trouble, but however, I couldn't understand, like, I was in jail for a whole year, and during this year, I couldn't understand why people were coming in and out of jail on the same charge and of distribution. I'll just be honest, it was for distribution and possession, and I couldn't understand, like, these people were coming in and out, in and out, in and out, and I didn't understand why, because that was my first time and I was like stuck there, and I didn't understand why they were getting off so easy. And I, like, in the very end, I got the hardest discipline that, for, in my opinion, like, for a first time or ever being in trouble, could get. And so during my stay, I was brought to this book, and what it made me think of was, it made me realize that God has a plan for everybody, and that in the situation that I was in, it didn't matter what other people got. Like, it doesn't matter that the same person is coming in and out of jail and you're still sitting there on the same charge. And it didn't matter. It came to a point where, like, I stopped getting upset about it because it was really bothering me. Like, I didn't understand. And so during that time, that's what it taught me. It taught me the whole book. It taught me that there are seasons, and that wasn't his plan for that person. So I can't be upset about it because this is his plan for me at that time. So that was my first introduction to this book. And ever since then, it's been my favorite book. I learned it while I was there. I took it in. And it's just an amazing book. So with that being said, keep that in mind, that, it does say here in chapter 3 that he has made everything beautiful in its own time. And no matter what we're going through right now, or like for me back then, it was a lesson, and just to get to know him more. So I did not know God back then like I do now. But again, he makes everything better in his own time, right? Or beautiful in his own time. So I'm going to go with chapter 1. So this is, why does everything seem so meaningless, right? The words of the preacher, the son of David, king of Jerusalem. Vanity of vanity, says the preacher. Vanity of vanities, all is vanity. And truly, if you think about it, like, vanity means meaningless, right? And everything really is meaningless, because we can't take anything that we have here on earth to heaven. We simply leave our bodies here, and it is our soul that goes to heaven, right? So, like, that realization, just in those two, like, that one verse, vanity is vanity. And so, like, it's really hard for people to understand that, like, we don't take anything from here. So, that's part of commandment number 1, where it says that we're not to love anything more than we love our God. And that's true, because it's meaningless, right? Because we can't take it with us. So I'm just going to continue. What does man gain by all of the toil at which he toils under the sun? And toil is work, right? So, like, what do you gain from working? And this all goes along with purpose, too. Because, if you're miserable in a job that you have, and you're like, oh, what am I getting from this? Am I here for the money? Am I here for the people? Like, why am I doing this job? If you're there for the money, then you're in the wrong place because you're miserable, right? So what does man gain by all the toil at which he toils under the sun? And generation goes and a generation comes, by the earth remains forever. So like, people come and people go. Like, the only thing that we all have in common is that we die. And that's why we should just love one another and be there for one another, because that's why he made us, right? And so, like, most people will be forgotten because they never found their purpose, or most people will be like, they will be honored for whoever they were while they were here on earth. But when they go, it's like they go, and yeah, we have memory of them, of course, of what they do or what they did. But they go, and it talks more about that in here. The sun rises and the sun goes down, and hastens to the place where it rises. It rises in the east and sets in the west always, right? The wind blows to the south and goes around to the north. Around and around goes the wind, and on its circuits the wind returns, right? So we never know which direction the wind is blowing. I really like this one. All streams run to the sea, but the sea is not full. To the place where the streams flow, there they flow again. So I look at this verse as, I kind of look at this verse as money. I mean, it could be looked at in a few ways. But when I think about this verse, I think of money. I think that I think that, like, everything is made by a lot of people, right? But it all falls into the hands of one person, and that's God. I don't really know how to explain it. All I'm saying is that, like, if you keep on doing something over and over and over again, you're going to get to the same place. I also wrote here complaining. Like, if you're constantly complaining about something, like, it's still gonna be there if you keep on doing it. All things are full of weariness, and man cannot utter it. The eye is not satisfied with seeing, nor the ear filled with hearing. That's complaining. Like, we complain about everything. If it's cold, you want it to be hot. If it's hot, then you want it to be cold. If it's just the right temperature, then, like, the leaves aren't green. Or, like, there's just constant complaining about the beauty of life. Like, that's the beauty of life, right? Okay, so, like, we should just be thankful. What has been is what will be, and what has been done is what will be done, and there is nothing new under heaven. And this is like the generation after generation that he talks about. Like, he talks about the generation after generation being what I was just talking about. Like, it's just the people. So the only thing new here on earth is us. And it's us, it's our being, it's how we act, it's how we treat one another, it's how much faith that we have. And there's nothing new, so why shouldn't we just enjoy life? That's what he's saying. Is there a thing of which it is said, see, this is new? It has been already in the ages before us. So, like, everything gets better, right? So, like, there were dirt roads. This is the only way I know how to explain it. So there were dirt roads in the 1920s going up until whenever that person found their purpose and they made concrete or asphalt. So the asphalt was made, that person found their purpose. They found exactly why they were here on this earth, and they made roads. So that person grew into his purpose, yet he made life better for everybody through, for all of the generations, because he made asphalt. So now there's no longer dirt roads, there's asphalt. Just like there was no light, and so there was I don't know. Sorry, Father, who made it? I think Albert Einstein made the light bulb. Could be wrong on that. Don't quote me on that. I'm not sure who made the light bulb. The point being is that he made it better for other people because he found his purpose, right? Here's another one. Henry Ford, for instance, he made the Ford car, right? So he found his purpose, and then he also built the Ford brand. So you understand what I'm saying, right? So that's what he's talking about there. Generations come and generations go. The sun rises in the east, always in the west. What will be, until something is new found. Okay, so in that being that is when that person has found their purpose, making the life of other generations or our generation a better place. That's what he's talking about. Okay, so there is no remembrance. This is what I was talking about earlier. There is no remembrance of former things, nor will there be any remembrance of later things yet to be among those who come after. The only remembrance would be like somebody doing like something legendary, like like Martin Luther King, or nowadays it's like Ellen DeGeneres. Like, she's super cool. She's really making a difference in the world by recognizing people and the good that they do. She is spreading love and kindness everywhere she goes. And, or like Oprah Winfrey, she did the same thing, and her story is pretty amazing. She found her purpose and she lived a really hard life, if you know her story. I read her book, and it was pretty awesome. I can't think of anybody else right off the top of my head, but those are the two people that came to mind. So, like Mickey Mantle, like I think he was a baseball player, like he did, and even, Hugh Hefner, like going on the opposite end of the scale, look at what Hugh did, but he still made a difference in people's lives. Okay, I, the preacher, have been king over Israel and Jerusalem. And I apply to my heart to seek and search out by wisdom all that's done under heaven. It is an unhappy business that God has given to his children of man to be busy with. It's only unhappy because we make it unhappy. It's only unhappy because we choose to be unhappy. It's not because God made it unhappy for us. He made it a beautiful place. He's made it so that we can have heaven on earth here. It's just a matter of obeying and finding that. It's a matter of listening and hearing what is it, like helping people. Like, if you help people, then that helps yourself. So it's about hearing what he's saying and taking in, and like, he'll lead you to your purpose. I promise you. Like, he will lead you to bigger and greater things that your heart is craving. There's just things that we do, and the preacher is saying, and I applied my heart to seek and search out by wisdom all that is done under heaven. It is an unhappy business that God has given to the children of man to be busy with. Well, all of the worldly things, right? That's and everything comes from God, right? So, I guess it is. I guess it's where we take it. Where is it going? What are we doing? Okay, cool. I have seen everything that is done under heaven, and behold, all is meaningless, vanity, he says, and is striving after the wind. Like, I love this book. This book is so amazing if you truly, truly understand it. And to my best ability, I'm going to try to teach it to you. Because it's just great. It's just an amazing book. Okay, so everything that is done under heaven, and behold, all is vanity and is striving after the wind. Like, everything under heaven, under the sun, like, he's saying that it's meaningless, but everything is striving after the wind. Like, we don't know which direction we're going. We're constantly, just in turmoil with self, or with another person, or with work, or we don't know what to do, or just like our lives and our mind are just completely chaotic. We have addictions of alcohol, drugs, sex, gambling, eating, like, you name it. Like, you can be addicted to anything. Cutting coupons, like, everything can become an addiction. So this is chapter 115. What is crooked cannot be made straight, and what is lacking cannot be counted. I said in my heart, I have acquired great wisdom, surpassing all who were over Jerusalem before me, and my heart has had great experience of wisdom and knowledge. And I applied my heart to know wisdom and to know madness. Let's see here. Sorry. And I applied my heart to know wisdom and to know madness and folly. I perceive that this also is but a striving after the wind. For in much wisdom is much vexation, and he who increases knowledge increases sorrow. So it's like the more that we learn, it seems like like I totally understand this, because the more knowledge that I've like found about God, I'm like, I feel like, like, what are you trying to tell me? And then I felt like, okay, now the more knowledge I had of him or continue to gain with him, it did increase sorrow for me, because I didn't believe that I didn't believe in his power. I didn't believe that all things came from him at first. And I didn't believe that he had such great power within people. And I didn't believe that I could change, So it brought great sorrow because I wasn't believing, and so therefore I was doing still the bad things that I shouldn't have been doing, and so forth and so on. So like, if you can apply that to your life now and just think about the things that, go on in your life, and just, sorry, I shouldn't have had that in my mouth. And just know, like, there's a higher calling, and when we think of things that are meaningless, it's everything, and everything comes from God. And the more wisdom and knowledge we get may create more sorrow, but that's just him teaching us who he made us to be. So with that being said, I'm going to end this video now. And again, this is Ecclesiastes chapter 1, one of my favorite books. I certainly love it, and I'm excited about teaching it, and God bless you, and thank you for listening.